Hey everybody, it's Dave with FlipperForce. Got open our repair estimator. Just going to show you some new features that we just launched into our software here. So the next time you log in, you should see this in your account. If not, go ahead and go up to your browser settings and delete your cache from your browser, and then hopefully the next time you log in, you should see these updates in the estimator. So one of the things we've been talking about for a while is our scope of work notes update. So if you click on that little icon next to each category, you will see a pre-built list of common scope of work notes that you can give to your contractor and basically use that to write a detailed scope of work for them so that they can provide an accurate bid for each category of work on your project. So you can see we've got the roofing scope of work notes open, and it says all roofing work is to be contractor purchased, contractor installed. Furnish and install new architectural roof shingles, roof vents, flashings, and components as required by local building codes. So that should really kind of cover you as far as making sure the contractor is doing things according to local building codes. Then you tell them the specification of the roofing materials that you want them to provide. Or they can provide an alternate list of materials and manufacturers. So if they use a common list of roofing materials that they're used to using, they're more than welcome to use those as long as they take that up with you before they provide a bid. Otherwise, you can specify your materials that you want them to use. Then it also goes into your other stuff that the contractor should be responsible for. Remove the existing roof shingles as necessary to install the new roof. Replace any damaged or rotted plywood sheathing as necessary. So a lot of times it's a good idea to have a roofing contractor provide a price per sheet of plywood that they need to replace. So if they run into any damaged roof sheathing, they need to give you a price up front, so that way you can use that in case they run into anything. So that way you have a pre-established price up front, so they don't price gouge you. Basically, they'll just tell you it's going to be $45 a sheet of roof sheathing to get it replaced. So you have that value up front just in case they run into anything. And then repair any loose or damaged gutters, haul off demolished roofing materials and debris, and then final cleaning, clean up all scrap roofing debris, screws and anchors from project site. So you can see this is a pretty detailed scope of work that's automatically pre-built into the roofing category here, and that's pre-populated with all of our estimate templates. So that's going to be pretty valuable for you if you need help writing scopes of work. That's something that I did professionally as a commercial construction estimator for several years, so that's something that I'm familiar with and comfortable with writing. So you can use all of our pre-built language in here to help write a detailed scope of work for your contractors. And then of course, if you want to change anything or write any additional notes, you can just add those additional notes in here, and then you can save that. And then that information is going to feed over to your scope of work report. So you can see we've got a scope of work builder over here. The scope of work builder is just a more of a printer friendly report that you can provide to your contractors. Now right now we only have share report functionality, so you can see you can share the report as a link. This will basically just create a share link that you can give to a contractor, and then once they plug in this link to their web browser, it'll pull up a page which will show them what the scope of work is. But in the next week or so, we are going to be working on print to PDF functionality, and then eventually we'd like to have export to Word document functionality. So that way you could take this information that you have on your scope of work document, you could export it to Word and make any kind of additional customizations that you want to using the standard Word document functionality. But as of right now, you can use the share link, and then soon we'll have print to PDF. So you can see this report is pulling over your quantities from the estimator. So basically what it's telling the contractor, so if we were hiring a general contractor, we wanted them to include the roofing in their scope of work. It's saying we think we have about 20 squares of roofing. Honestly, they need to go out and measure the amount of roofing on the project and do a measurement themselves, but we're saying we think there's about 20 squares of roofing. And then these are the detailed notes that they should include in their proposal. So again, these notes are feeding over from the repair estimator, but you can change those notes over here as well. So you could say additional notes over here, and then these additional notes that we've typed over here are going to feed back to our estimator tool as well. So those kind of go back and forth. If you make a change over here, it'll make a change to the scope of work notes that you have on the estimator, and vice versa. If you make a change on the repair estimator on the scope of works, those will feed over to your scope of work notes. So if you forget something or want to edit something, it kind of gives you a way to edit everything on two different views there in case you forget something on one page or the other. So you can see we've got our notes here, and then you can actually drag and drop property photos here as well. So if you wanted to show your contractor what needed to be done, you could drag and drop property photos here of the existing roof condition, or maybe there's something that it's just not easily translated to paper. Maybe you need to use pictures in order to tell the contractor what needs to be done because it's kind of hard to describe in written format. Well, you can drag in and drop in a picture to help explain that scope of work to the contractor. So basically you can go through and you can see siding has its own pre-built list of scope of work notes for the siding. We're going down to masonry, it has its own pre-built list of notes. Painting, same thing. You can input your paint colors that you're wanting them to paint for your trim, your siding, your doors. Tell them to scrape the existing siding and prep it and caulk it, stuff like that. So all of these typical scope of work notes that you would have for these categories are pre-built into that estimate template for you. So hopefully you can create an estimate in 10 to 15 minutes, but then you're also creating a scope of work in just about as much time. So something that used to take you probably 2 to 3 hours to create a detailed scope of work for you is probably now going to hopefully only take you less than 30 minutes. So then you can put this into a nice printer-friendly format for your contractors, print it out, give it to them, and then hopefully get accurate estimates and proposals back from your contractors. So that's a quick overview of the new scope of work functionality. If you have any questions, let me know.